Okay guys, so this is the full review for Series 3 of Torchwood. Glow on the screen, let's just try and hide it. Okay, there we go. So yes, so I've done my 1 minute reviews. Hopefully they've actually come out as proper shorts this time. So this will be quite a short one compared to the others because it's only 5 episodes. So, on to the history. Torchwood Series 1 and 2 was 13 episodes each, extremely successful. And for some reason it got cut down to 5 episodes when they moved it from BBC Choice /3 to 2 and then to 1. And it feels like a huge insult to Torchwood, but you know, they did everyone loved it. They did such a great job. Series 2 toned down the OTT, so-called, you know, adult stuff, as they call alien sex gas, etc. And by Series 3, it just tells an exceptional sci-fi story. So yeah, basically, aliens show up on Earth, demanding that they hand over some of the world's children to them. Think Doctor Who with the Sycorax in the Series 2 Christmas episode, when they show up and basically threaten to force all the people of Earth, well, selected a third of the world, to walk off buildings to their deaths. It's kind of like this. They basically, you build up the tension slowly. Wonder what these things are. You don't even get their name. They just use a radio frequency numbers 4, 5, 6. And they reveal their name. When they make contact, they basically say, you know, you called us 4, 5, 6 before, you may call us that now. And yeah, you have this huge, like, tank full of all these gases, everything to their specifications, and like there's the occasional shot of like what's in there, like giant crab claws, all kinds. And the great thing about this is you can't even see clearly what this thing is. It's certainly nothing that's like ever come up in Doctor Who before, or has since either. And so yeah, but basically the plot is, once this creature arrives on Earth, they say hand over 10% of each country's children. You know, there's this. You just, first of all, they're like, just like, say a grand number, and then it's like a number like per country where they're just saying like over and over, e.g. like 1,050, 410, and it's like slowly worked out. This is like the number of children, but 10% of them across like every planet on Earth, and they will not accept anything less than what they're asking for. And you go into their history, you see that they've had dealings with England before. You know, Jack was part of a deal where they handed over 12 children in order to get a vaccine, because there was a strain of flu at the time which had killed, I think, thousands and thousands of people. And they basically had a vaccine which they promised would work. It was analysed and they were telling the truth. And yeah, they do it. They hand over 12 innocent children, and you know, the English government gets given the vaccine so that like millions will live, basically. And just seeing the flashbacks, Jack's like, seems like fair trade. Like, Jack doesn't see anything like immoral about doing this, and like, yeah, they're smart enough about it. They just basically go to some orphanage, pick up 12 children that no one will miss, and it's like the horrible, you know, idea of a sacrifice, which you sacrifice like 1 or 12 people in this case to save millions. And it basically comes down to it on a much, much bigger scale. Like the numbers they're talking, I mean, it could about every country in the planet. So at that point, what's Earth's population? 6.5. This was what, 2009? Was it 2008? No, 2009. What about 6.5 million? Billion rather. And whatever the number of children that is, ages 1 till 12 roughly. No, sorry, not 12. But that was the ages they went with originally. No, this is like anyone up to age 17, which is like in the millions. And it comes down to the government agreeing to do it. Like, there's a horrible scene in episode 4 when the government are just talking calmly in like the room at who they sacrifice. So it's like, should we do alphabetical? You know, they're like, okay, we've decided. Immediate family from everyone in this room are safe, but not nieces and nephews. Then they decide to instead use the old school tables, because they realise, in 10 years' time, what about all the, you know, we've got people who work in offices, factories, hospitals, etc. And what about the children who will be on the, you know, the dole, you know, on the street corners, you know, and going into the job centre, on the dole, or in the prisons? They basically decide, because what else are the school figures for? And it's just grim as hell, because you think this is what they would do. They look at people in like bad areas, you know, the rough estates, and hand them over. And again, the worst thing is, with the way this is done, they don't even like look into like individual cases. They're like, okay, let's use my school as an example. Buckingham School, that's one of the 100 worst achieving schools in the country. Let's hand over every child. And yeah, I may not be a millionaire, but I've not done too badly for myself. I've got friends who've done very well for themselves, or people who haven't done very well, but they would effectively, let's say this was, I don't know, the year 2000, me and everyone in my like school would be targeted, and it's just a horrible thought. They're just basically using like school figures just for bad areas. I mean, obviously my school would not be targeted. Buckingham was not one of the lowest score ones, but let's say it was. That's basically what they're doing, and the people, the parents aren't going to like see it in a, they're not going to see any good in this whatsoever. They just target the lowest achieving areas. And the great thing about this series is, though, that actually you see has affects main characters. This includes their families. So first of all, you've got Jack, who's got a daughter and a grandson. Jack's grandson believes he is just his uncle because, Jack's daughter looks like she's nearly as old as he is. How long till she looks older? And so his grandson Stephen wouldn't understand that at his age, because I think he's like 10 or 11. So he doesn't know. Obviously, Gwen doesn't have any children, but you find out she's pregnant, and then she's got to decide whether she wants to have a child in this world. And then you've got Yanto, who does have a family. He's got a sister, his only relative, and his sister is married with 2 children. And they clearly live in a rough part of Wales, and there's no doubt they're going to be targeted. And sure enough, come episode 5, when they basically send people back to schools and have the school buses on hand to collect the children are going to give away. That includes Yanto's school, and that's the best thing about this. Like Doctor Who feels from 2005 they put more focus on like the companions' like home lives. Like you see Rose's mum and like ex/not ex-boyfriend, and you just think that could easily have been Rose like 10 years ago, and it's like that. It's not just random kids, which would be bad, sure, but you just know that Yanto's like niece nephew would be sacrificed, and it's just also horrible. And yet it feels so real. Like this is what the government would do. Like basically told, I don't know, hand over 50 million children in England. Who are they honestly going to target? Of course, the leaders, the MPs and people making the decision aren't going to choose their own. Like, not even if they just skip their children for like their nieces and nephews. They're not going to. Of course, they're not going to do it. They're not going to hand over their own ones. But yeah, they'll target the innocent people. I mean, yes, a lot of these kids are going to be like not good people when they become adults, but the government can't make that sort of choice yet. This is a situation where they would have to make such a horrible choice. Of course, no one thinks of the other option, fighting back, which is probably the worst thing. But I mean, it does happen. Series 4, episode 4, Jack and Yanto go into the base after like the government decides not to try and kill them anymore. Basically, Jack basically does the doctor speech, tells them, this time, I was there before. You're not getting what you want this time. Leave now. We'll stop. We'll fight back. The alien is like, fine. Lets this gas out, kills everyone in the building, including Yanto. It's just devastating. And you realise, like, if he can just do that, they also then say, you will, because with Jack's immortality, some things like that do kill him, but it takes longer. Like when he helps a guy kill himself in series 1, and it's implied that if the gas will eventually kill him, but then he'll wake up, the carbon monoxide poisoning. And it's the same sort of thing here. As Jack's like slowly dying, the 456 creature is like, you will die, and tomorrow your people will hand over all the children. And yeah, after that, they're like, okay, because now they believe that they'll nuke the entire planet if they don't get what they want. And the grimmest thing is, no one looks for a way of stopping this, and you don't even see if the other countries are as well. It seems like everyone's just going along with it. And then but of course, fighting begins. So episode 5, you get Yanto, when the government, they come up with a story about how everything's safe, come back to school, we're going to give vaccinations so your children who keep stopping and saying what the 456 tell them, so this won't happen again. Gwen basically tells Yanto's family, don't listen to them, this is why Yanto died, he's trying to stop this. And of course, Yanto's brother-in-law leads a massive fight with all the people in the estate. Gwen's PC friend actually, quite symbolically, pulls off his police uniform to join the fight in against the government. It's said that this is starting to happen everywhere, but it's happening so quick that they're going to succeed. And they basically get all the children in place to be abducted, and it's just. But then Jack stops it for this awful price. They find out there is a way, because they've been studying the 456 for years. They found a way based on how they killed Clem, the adult who was nearly abducted as a child, a way to reverse it and send it back. and the only with like effectively minutes before all the children are going to be like teleported away by the 456, there's only one way: sacrifice Jack's grandson. And it's devastating because you see that Jack is like spending like this series trying to get things going with his daughter again, because she knows what, doesn't know everything, but she knows he's done bad things in the past. Like there's a bit where Jack says, let's in episode 1, let Stephen stay with me. We'll just, I'll keep him safe. And she's like, you bastard, you only want him now that there's some danger. And she doesn't believe he would keep Stephen safe. And sure enough, by the end, it comes down to one child versus millions, and Jack chooses to sacrifice the one child. It's awful. They send a signal through Stephen, and there's no surviving it. And after it's done, and like Jack's daughter like walks in the room he's in, stares at him, and just turns away. And in the Doctor Who episode, David Tennant's finale, which was set sometime after this, where Jack's alone in some alien bar, it ties in really well to this, because by like 6 months later, Jack's been traveling the world trying to get away from like the pain and the guilt. Tells Gwen that he's leaving Earth forever. There's nothing for him there because of what he's done. And then, see, the worst thing, Jack seemed to like what he'd become, like the power that he had working for running Torchwood. It changed him, and there's a nice little reference to all the people that have died. Well, at least from this team, because Jack's flashback episode showed his boss killing everyone in the team that he felt were not fit to lead Torchwood, but only Jack can. And it goes all the way to the beginning. Susie from the very first episode, Owen and Tosh, who died at the end of series 2, Yanto, and then even named Stephen as well, his grandson after that. And then they Gwen's like, you can't just walk away. He's like, watch me. And that's why Jack's on that alien bar in the David Tennant finale, because he's so ashamed of himself he can't return to Earth. And there is another series, Miracle Day, that I did not like it one bit. Great concept, but I just didn't think it was worth watching. Great ideas, and Torchwood, I think it's worked so well because it was 5 episodes. That one was 10, not 13 like the others were 10. It was still too much. And the problem is it doesn't get mentioned at all in like the larger show. I mean, this happening over 5 days, much like the series 1 finale and series 2 finale, happening so that the Doctor wouldn't notice because it was so short. Miracle Day covered months. This covers 5 days. Oh, I suppose, so I'm not bothering with you, I don't know in the set, whereas this is, it's a lot smaller than series 1 and 2, which are quite bulky, but it doesn't need to be bigger. I mean, look at it, it's just that. Well, it's a shame there's nothing inside, but, so for August probably mentioned the other thing, the supporting characters. So Peter Capaldi plays like the guy who seems to be the villain, and he does some very bad things, but he's very much just obeying his government, and they treat him as the fall guy. They force him to make it known he's involved, but the Prime Minister isn't. It was just the worst ever. And he's also got use. He's going to suffer as well, even though the government decide no one from them will suffer. They decide to make it look like the 456 have double-crossed them and decide to sacrifice important people's children after all. You don't know if it's more, but they basically tell Peter Capaldi's character, John Frobisher, you're going to hand your children over. And his face, he says, I'll tell everyone what you're doing. He's like, but then your children know what's going to happen, wouldn't they? And it's devastating. He just goes to like one of his friends, Bridget, gives some emergency protocols to her. She brings a box to him. He leaves, kisses her on the cheek, and kills his family. It's heartbreaking, but you see, he knows what the 456 is going to do. He's found out that they use the children as drugs, and the children don't suffer, but they got to live for God knows how long, like that, basically attached to like some alien, giving them chemicals, and it's heartbreaking. He goes home, you see him like. His children upstairs in the bedroom. His like hands are shaking as he's putting bullets into the gun. It's incredible acting, and he's done some terrible things throughout the series, but you just feel so bad for him. And at that point, because Jack comes up with a plan separate from the government how to stop them right in the last minute, he doesn't think there's going to be any stopping it at all. And watching him walk into his family's room while things with a gun behind his back, and then that slow close on, then suddenly 3 quick gunshots, a gap, and then a 4th one. And then you got like his friend Bridget talking about his history and how he before that and then after, how he is a good man. Remember that, because she knows what's going to happen. The protocols is to get him a handgun, and it's really sad. And although his character in series 4 Doctor Who there's a reason why in Doctor Who he regenerates into Peter Capaldi's body. This is like apparently a relative, but no real connection in the same way, and it's tragic. Then you got the other villain, the Prime Minister. He is the worst. There's no good in him whatsoever. Even at the end, everything that's happened, he plans to just cash in he decides that he should just claim the American government took over without any authorization. Let's just blame them for everything that happened. But he gets what he deserves. John's friend Bridget, she manages to royally screw him over. You basically get a Martha Jones goes, oh, and Martha doesn't appear in this series because some issue with her appearing in when she was signed up for an ITV show, which is bad. But they basically get what is her equivalent, like this young girl who works in the government, and she begins communicating with Torchwood and finds a way in. They give her contact lenses. Think Doctor Who when the Doctor gave Rory glasses to let him see. It's like this, but they're contacts because the Doctor's quirky enough to think that glasses would make those very nerdy glasses would make Rory look really handsome, and would come up with something like glasses. But contacts obviously a lot subtler, and the sort of thing Torchwood would do because this woman's suddenly wearing glasses all of a sudden. Why she contacts wouldn't know, and she's able to film everything that they do in the meeting. She gets arrested, but it turns out she spoke to Bridget, who then she gives her the information, tells her everything Torchwood were doing, and that she gives her the contacts, which she managed to film everything the Prime Minister was saying. It's absolutely incredible. Watching him pay for what he's done is great. And then you've got the woman who's very much the henchwoman of the show. She's the one who basically kills the guy you think is being set up to be Owen's replacement. But when she finds out what the government are doing, she stops. She's one of the villains in Bad Girls, and I can see why with her performance. So that is series 3, and it's again there may have been another series of it, but ignore that series because it's never even been referenced in Doctor Who either. And think of this as the ending. This is just perfect, but it's not easygoing TV. Certainly not by episode 4 anyway. But absolutely love this series, and it's so cheap now. I mean, I bought this new and sealed off eBay Christmas. And no, it wasn't the dodgy seal it up yourself thing, which I know. So I've bought CDs in the market where they do that. No, this was legit new and sealed. I won't be doing Miracle Day just because, I'll have to watch the episodes again. I'm not going to waste nearly 10 hours. I've watched it once, that was enough. But this, I must have watched it 3 or 4 times now. It really is that good. Shame we were basically deprived of a 13 episode Torture run, but the story they told, there's no way that would work over 13 episodes. If they got 13, I don't even know we've even got a slice of this storyline. I'm going to assume we wouldn't have. So I thank the BBC for that. Rusty Davies and co adapted big time too. I mean, they're longer. The episode's about an hour, not 45, not just under 45. So it's not that close. In terms of minutes, it's probably the equivalent of 8 to 9 episodes. But they did a great job. So that's the end of my Torchwood and Torchwood review. So as I'm filming this, I've still got to upload the Doctor Who ones, but as I film it, as in they're not, as of this date, they're not uploaded yet. But as I'm filming it now, this is probably the final bit of Doctor Who Torture at me I'm going to do, unless I pick up old Doctor Who DVDs. I've never reviewed The 10th Planet, for example, so maybe then. Hope you enjoyed, and see you for the next one.